President of Parliament poses a number of questions regarding the zoning law. Councillor and leader of the MJP party on Friends St. Martin is organizing a peaceful gathering on Saturday. Minister of Education explains why and how schools will reopen on August the 10th. Those are the headlines for August the 4th, 2020. Good evening, everyone. This is SXM Daily News. I am Valerie Van Putten. Thanking you so much for joining me this evening. And as usual, we have a packed newscast for you, so let's get started. In our first story, with the reopening of schools on St. Martin for the 2020-2021 school year, and with many parents, guardians, teachers still confused as to how the school year will begin, Minister of Education, Dr. Anders Rodolph Samuel, speaking on Sunday last to Wendell Moore on the radio program People's Voice on PJD2 and PJD3 radio, explained the reasons why and how schools will reopen on Monday upcoming, August the 10th.
Educational year begins in August, and persons have been asking if schools are going to be open. Now, I think there is a distinction in the minds of persons. If you say school is open or school is closed, then you can be referring to the buildings themselves. But so if you say the building is closed, it does not mean that education is not continuing. And that is why I believe we have a different of understanding on depending on the sentence you use. So I am saying to the public of St. Martin, on Monday, school will continue. School will start and school will be open. So it is not primarily in reference to the building, it is in reference to education. So what I am expecting that this week coming up to the preparation of school, I would have parents that would be looking for uniforms, parents that would look for school bags, parents that would look for all the necessary things that you would need in order for the child to go to school with. One of the main things that would be on the list of parents this year, instead of books and copybooks, would also be a device on which you can do or the child can receive online training. Now, why am I talking like this? Monday morning, 7 o'clock, 7:30, what it is will be happening in the homes. What would you or should you be doing? What would happen to the student? Going to school no longer means that you would leave home and go to a building. Going to school on Monday morning will mean that you are directed to that place in the home where you would sit in front of a device and you would obtain your education online. So this frame of mind is the frame of mind that I am asking the community to have on Monday morning. You have to start this week prepping your student, your child, for the beginning of the school year. And it would mean that you would have to have a discussion about hand washing, sanitation, distancing. You would also have to have a discussion with the child about the new normal. The school year is beginning. You will be going to school, but you might not have to leave the home. And I say might, because I do want for us to understand that after the lockdown, we continued with a couple of things. We had students that had to complete their exams. And those students went to school in a safe distance manner. in a way where they could do their exams.
And as we continue now with this COVID-related item, as of August the 3rd, St. Martin has confirmed 4 new cases of persons who have tested positive for the coronavirus COVID-19. The new total of confirmed cases now stands at 150. Of the active cases, the Collective Prevention Services, CPS, are monitoring 68 people in home isolation, and Minister of Public Health, Social Development and Labor, VSA, the Honorable Richard Panaflex, stated, we now have 70 active cases of persons who have contracted COVID-19. 1 patient is currently hospitalized and 1 patient is isolated and being monitored. The total number of deaths due to COVID-19 remains at 16. The number of people recovered since the first case surfaced on St. Martin earlier this year remains at 64. 167 people are now in quarantine based on contact tracing investigations carried out by CPS on persons who may have been in contact with any of the 70 active cases. In a continued effort to control the spread of the virus, CPS has now tested 239 people at the Princess Juliana International Airport, PJIA, and 787 people throughout the community. As the numbers continue to increase for positive cases, CPS will continue to actively execute its contact tracing measures. The ministry is also reminding the entire community to let us all continue to wear masks, practice social distancing, sanitize your hands as frequently as possible, and wash your hands with soap. Together, the minister says, we shall overcome the spread of COVID-19 on St. Martin. And still to come, union members talk about the one-day workshop that was organized by the Windward Islands Chamber of Labor Unions. We'll have the details to that story and much more when SXM Daily News returns.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching SXM Daily News. At the one-day Union Leaders Members Workshop that was organized by the Windward Islands Chamber of Labor Unions on Saturday last, August the 1st, 2020, and that was attended by approximately 30 persons for which the sessions were organized, speaking exclusively to our news team was representatives of the St. Martin Communications Union, Natalie France, President of the WIFO, Theophilus Thompson, and President of the ABVO Union, St. Martin, Inspector Charlon Catalina, who spoke to our news team about the one-day workshop.
I'm the President of ABVO, Charlon Catalina. To add what my sister Claire just described what the workshop today was for, the main point is that we look for a dialogue with our government and show the government that as stakeholders, the union have to be recognized, and the union has a great part in this community, and that we're fighting for the justice and everything what's concerning our members' laws. Especially if we're in violation with the human rights, social rights, worker rights, all these obligations that the government should have seen from day one. We as the union make this workshop to conscientize our members them about what's going on, and from there we will get some good information from them to make MOU. And with the memorandum of understanding, we will look for position to sit on table with our government and explain to the government how we want the government to deal with the situation, because the government is going ahead, leaving the union as a stakeholder behind. Today workshop was very good, very informative and educative. And we say thanks to our guest speaker, Mr. Dr. Randall Ciceroom, who bring a presentation up to top, so the workers and the members could understand where the union is heading for.
The MOU that we will be presenting the government, that they will realize that this is a counter-proposal to the measures that Holland will or want to impose of us. Working together with the unions, we can come to much better understanding and less pressure on the nation. We do hope that we can sit on the table, go over the proposals, and come to understandings so that we can tell Holland we cannot accept their proposal because the nation is hurting. The pandemic also is hurting the people of St. Martin. Helping the people of St. Martin is not imposing drastic rules on them. That is not the help that I think our government was asking for.
And so we want to inform our political leaders that they must stand firm and bring counter-proposal to the government in the Netherlands that what their intentions are is against human rights, against workers' rights, and against international treaties that they have signed off on to maintain. For example, the first of the SDGs is to eradicate poverty. That means there should be no poverty in the world by the year 2030. By these cutting measures definitely would give rise to poverty and increase to starvation and the deterioration of workers and human rights.
And in news now out of French St. Martin, councillor and leader of the MJP party on French St. Martin, Louis Mussington, is still visibly upset about the closure of the northern border by the prefect. Leader of the MJP says that a gathering is being organized for this Saturday, August the 8th, at 8:30 a.m. at the Bellevue roundabout to show in a non-violent way to stop this situation, as there is no justification for what is going on in French Quarter and the other measures that is going on the other borders on French St. Martin.
As far as what the prefect, most likely with the backing of the Ministry of Overseas Department, has implemented as of Friday 12 o'clock, definitely it does not have my support at all. And like Patrick just illustrated brilliantly, you are not solving the problem if you're going to announce that all the waivers that was issued some months ago are valid today, because there were thousands, okay, both between prefecture and government building. Yeah. So you are not really combating the virus, because 3,000 to 4,000 people have access in and out to both sides of the island on a regular basis. No testing done. You're not really doing anything to really slow or to mitigate, like you said, the spreading of the virus. It's a stupid, it's absurd to argue that, and saying that my only concern is protecting or guaranteeing the safety of our people, or the people of St. Martin. Nonsense, because it is proven that's not what is going to, because people are moving in and out, whether legally or illegally, without the waiver or not. There's still that movement of people from one side of the island to the next. So to me, there's no justification for what is going on now in Finch Quarter. Both from Ice Upon, where there's a cantina, again, completely absurd. There's a cantina in Lowlands as well. And then there's a gendarme station in Bellevue, and also somewhere in Finch Quarter. Maybe you can help me say where they are. Again, completely absurd. And Belle Plaine, So I'm here to say up front, we as a people, and I must commend those young people who called me over the weekend to ask what is going to happen, what we're going to do about this absurdity. Okay. So I'm here to tell them point blank up front, we got to plan a move. And we are looking at now to Saturday. We got to gather in large numbers in Bellevue and to walk over there in a very non-violent way, but firm way to say, please remove this nonsense barricade you have here, or a blockade, whatever it is. Stop this filtration and nonsense and let our people circulate. Because you are not about really helping St. Martin people. Because at no given moment, you ask the St. Martin people how we can help you. You just dictate that this is what you are going to do.
Meanwhile, Stephen Patrick, the fourth vice president of the collectivité, is also of the opinion that they have been confronted with a situation which should never have been. It simply doesn't make any sense at all, and he elaborates further.
In the middle of the French territory already. So if you're French with South Sudan, legally you're already on the territory, you're already home. So I don't understand how you're going to be turned back. But yes, we're in front of a situation that should have never been. And we've had a couple, the last two discussions that I was in with the collectivity and the prefecture concerned in this, I can call it a border dispute issue as far as the closing is concerned, we were totally and remain totally against. Because like I told the prefect in the last meeting that we had, it simply doesn't make any sense at all. That is, of course, if we're talking about a sanitary concern, which is a health issue. If we have a health situation where you feel obligated to protect the population on the French side of the island that you represent as far as the French Republic is concerned, then because you feel that the other side, which that side of the island has an increased number of cases, and which I also share that concern. So if your objective is to close the border, and for a sanitary reason, the way how I look at it is that the border has to be completely closed, and not necessarily a filtration. Yeah. Because during that filtration, I, for example, who is one that can go back and forth, I basically will be going into a so-called contaminated area, to put it that way.
And in news now from the police blotter, the detectives of St. Martin Police Force arrested a man with the initials NJT on July the 31st for his alleged involvement in a spree of armed robberies that have been happening in the Coal Bay and surrounding areas. The suspect, who lives in the district, was arrested in the early morning hours by the detectives without incident. After the arrest, a search was conducted in the suspect's home, during which several items were confiscated. The suspect is being remanded pending further investigation. We would like to also remind the community that the more we come together to assist the police in the combat against these crimes, the faster the culprits can be apprehended. And in connection with the passing of a former colleague and friend, Inspector Rudolphus Alexander Martin Sorton, who died on July the 30th, 2020, the management of the police force KPSM would like to extend their heartfelt condolences to the family and friends of the deceased. Inspector R.A.M. Sorton joined the police force in 1969 and worked on the islands of Curacao, St. Martin, and Saba. Inspector Sorton ended his police career on St. Martin, where he worked at the Immigration Department. After working for more than 40 years, Inspector Sorton went on a well-deserved pension in March of 2009. We have always known him as a strong and courageous police officer who has always motivated others during his tenure as a police officer. He is certainly a big loss to his friends and family on St. Martin, Curacao, and Saba. May his soul rest in eternal peace, according to the police department. The management team of the SXM Daily News would also like to extend our deepest sympathies to the family and relatives of the late Inspector Sorton, who are left to mourn. Now turning to our weather forecast for August the 4th, 2020. A dominant Atlantic high-pressure system will maintain mostly gentle winds across the region. Additionally, A relatively dry and stable atmosphere will continue to restrict precipitation. Seas will remain slight to moderate during the next few days. So the outlook through Thursday midday, fair to partly cloudy with a few passing showers possible. Now let's turn to your 3-day forecast. And still to come, Member of Parliament for the USP says, after hearing the agenda points at the last parliamentary meeting, it brings back bad memories. And we'll have the details of that story and more when SXM Daily News returns.
Make use of WIB mobile banking with easy access and direct usage of face recognition, PIN code, or fingerprint. Download WIB mobile banking app and make your transaction from anywhere at any time. For more information, visit wib-bank.net/quick-login.
Welcome back, viewers. This is SXM Daily News, and I'm Valerie Van Putten. At the plenary public session of Parliament, which was held last Friday, July the 31st, the Minister of Public Housing, Spatial Planning, Environment and Infrastructure, VROMI, Egbert Jorendi Doran, made a PowerPoint presentation on the zoning ordinance. The Minister of VROMI gave an elucidation about St. Martin's economic and spatial development, past and present. After the presentation, Member of Parliament Claudius Bonkamper addressed the Minister. Mr. Bonkamper said that after seeing the agenda points, it truly brings back bad memories to him. The Member of Parliament said, as VROMI's department head for 23 years and dealing with the infrastructure, which included falling rocks and water slides, he cannot get over it. He explains why.
For the Ministry of VROMI, though, I was there. I have seen people like Geert van der Lees, Louis Brown and them bust their backside to get these things done and be shot down time after time by ministers. Mr. Chairman, when I see this agenda point, it truly brings up bad memories by me. It even gives me the wrong thoughts, because you must understand, coming from the Ministry of VROMI, where I was a department head for 23 years, dealing on a daily basis with infrastructure, there was no one that had to deal more often with falling rocks, landslides, damaged roads, damaged bridges because of bad water management due to the irresponsible behavior of people on the island, and by extension, sometimes government. Because sometimes you give a negative advice and the minister still gives a positive advice, because the ultimate approval is from the minister, not the ministry. We advise, but irresponsible ministers can cause irresponsible damage. Now, too often have I seen the fight of the economy versus the environment. Why can't it be a sustainable something? We always allow the economy to take the upper hand over the environment, and we have paid the price dearly. Now, the pictures that were presented, you got to look at them twofold, because pictures of the 60s will never be pictures of today.
Meanwhile, President of Parliament, the Honorable Rolando Bryson, posed several questions to the chairman, which included, what is the current capacity for handling permits?
So, Mr. Chairman, through you, what is the current capacity of VROMI for handling building permits? And what is the expected increase that may occur as a result? And what plans does the minister have to deal with any increase in the request and need for building permits as a result of this law? So maybe that little information, those statistics, or maybe some indications and plans from the minister can put any ease as to, oh, but we put in more bureaucracy, we put in more implement. But as many others said, sometimes bureaucracy can be annoying or such, but sometimes you have to put things in place to protect your country first. It has not worked without the bureaucracy. So therefore, a bit added layer of protection for our environment, for the safety of our citizens, for proper building within the country, this adds that layer of protection. So it definitely does have my support, but the minister should give, Mr. Chairman, through you, some indication as to what that situation will be in terms of increased building permits.
And still to come, the island of Anguilla still holds their annual August Monday Juve Jump Up Carnival. We'll have the details of that story when SXM Daily News returns. Welcome back, viewers. You are watching SXM Daily News, and I am Valerie Van Putten. And as we continue now with news out of the island of Aruba, the government of Aruba has announced the introduction of additional measures after 5 local transmission cases of COVID-19 was detected. The use of a mouth cap is now strongly being encouraged, especially in places where social distancing cannot be maintained. All outdoor sporting events have been canceled. A maximum of 4 persons are allowed per table in restaurants. Musical events, public dancing, and hanging out at bars are now prohibited. Only table service is permitted. An assembly ban of maximum of 4 persons will be in effect. Also, stricter rules will apply for casinos and/or game rooms. The 1.5-meter physical distancing will apply to all offices, and a return to former distancing rules are again applicable to funeral and church services. The rules and regulations being imposed now on Aruba took effect today, August the 4th, 2020. And as we end this edition of SXM Daily News for this evening, even though the traditional Anguilla August Monday Juve Jump Up, which is usually attended by thousands from around the region, this year, the COVID-19 pandemic, which is affecting many islands, prevented the crowds from attending the popular August Monday celebration. However, on Anguilla, which has only 1 reported active case, that did not stop the carnival for residents. Yesterday was the official August Monday celebration. Hundreds of residents came out and participated in their traditional Juve Jump Up. And with that, viewers, we've come to the end of this edition of SXM Daily News for this evening. I am Valerie Van Putten, thanking you for joining me. And just a reminder that this and other programs are available online. Simply log on to stmartinmediacenter.com for viewing. And on behalf of the SXM Daily News team, we thank you for watching and plan on meeting you right back here again tomorrow.